I found out that Louis Armstrong, at the same age as I was, went up in the children's home. He was in the children's home. He was, roaming the streets. He met people in that children's home that changed his life. So I was kind of like, wow, this sounds almost like my life. I was born, when I came home from the hospital, you see the blue next to the yellow with the red awning? That's the house I came to. Now, that's my house right there. My grandmother lived in the basement. We lived on the first floor. Right here, all of this was our playground. This was like our, and it was just wonderful. It's a great memory. We moved to 97th Street, and from 97th Street to next door to Louis Armstrong. Now this house here, this is Louis Armstrong's house. This is our house. Welcome to my house. Mm-hmm. This was the garage. This is a garage. Yeah. I'm standing right over here. Right over here. Just standing here. He pulls up, goes up here, stops, looks at me there, hey, I say, hey, Pops, how you doing? Oh, you do my way all that? Yeah, you do that? Yeah, all right. He left the car here. I ran inside, touched him, did the tires. He came out, no, okay. They flipped me, no. Happiest day of my life. Okay, so look at the house, that right down here. They used to have these parties. I mean, nice parties. Umbrella tables. One time I recall it was like white, people wore white clothes, they had white umbrella tables, and, it was people of all colors, It was his birthday. And he would have these cakes, all kinds of cakes that people would give him. And he would tell Lucille, send them cakes to the kids next door. Let the kids next door have the cakes. And so we would have like all kinds of, we were so happy. I mean, I just loved him because he cared so much about us. And to do that, but I loved him as Pops, It's something that when you don't have, you're conscious that you don't have, and you're conscious that people are conscious that you don't have. But he made me feel like I had. Lucille made us feel like we had. I wasn't here when she played it. She said she played Louis Armstrong's piano. I believe it because she loves the piano. Just like she loved the dogs, And she was, I don't know how she got the talent to play. I don't remember her getting any lessons, but she would come in and she'd just rip it off, Gloria liked dogs. She loved dogs. And she used to walk Mr. Armstrong's dog. And I think that's how she became friendly with them. Mrs. Blair, this young lady she had a lot on her plate. Because as the oldest sister, when my mother got sick, she was looked upon as the person to carry on. She had a very difficult life. I often think that I'm sorry that when they took my younger sister and me and put us in placement, I'm sorry they didn't take my older sister and my brother, because after we were put in placement, they kind of like had to fend totally on their own. And it was horrible, That's why I don't think he's here today, because he got caught up with the alcohol and stuff. And I don't think, I think her not being here today is contributing to that because they lived a very hard life. But people in Corona, when we had her memorial service at the Langston Hughes Library, half of Corona I had seen for years showed up. And they called her, not Gloria, they called her Queenie. Queenie. They came, and it's people from all over because she had the magnetic personality. You know, you had to fall in love with you, but she also was tough. This was the last house I lived in Corona. And I didn't know it at the time. When they put me in that station wagon, my sister and I, Carol, and took us to Jamaica, to the family court in Jamaica on Union Hall Street. I had no idea that that would be the last time I would be living in Corona. That transition from Corona to Jamaica, to the children's home, was really upsetting. But out of that pain, something grew. Something happened that was unanticipated. I began to learn about other people and how they live, learn about discipline, learn about, how to take care of yourself, learn about education and what education is about, because exposure was the key for me, and I resisted it. But one of the reasons why I'm a social worker is because I know, just like for me, deep down inside of an individual is a yearning to behold, to have their potentials realized. And it takes a special kind of person to see something in a kid that's not manifested in that kid's behavior. And I was involved with social workers who were able to say, there's something about this kid. No matter what he's doing, he's acting out, he's difficult, etc. But there's something about him that needs to be cultivated. I've grown to be a community activist and president of my block association, president of the Chamber of Commerce. I've done all of that. They came together and they made a decision that they would unite Corona and East Elmhurst into one community, because there was more political influence and more political power if the community was united than it would be divided, And that's why Corona, East Elmhurst became like one community. And I really take my hats off to people like him and Walter Reefer, Jake Gavon. These were community people that decided that we are not getting our fair share of what we put in terms of taxes, etc. And that's because we do not organize. So they had a meeting in Graham's barbershop and started a new political fire composed of Corona and East Elmhurst. And they were able to influence the outcome of elections for many years. And that's how Ellen Marshall emerged. That's how Jeff Aubrey emerged. They were able to use that leverage, for this community. That was the restaurant, Wheat's Candy Store. Right next to Wheat's Candy Store, where that restaurant is, that deli is, that was Graham's barbershop. And that's where they did the organizing, the barbershop. They turned this place, before it looks like it was now, they turned it into a Muslim bakery. I was a student leader, and we were very deeply involved in the civil rights movement. We were disciples of Dr. Martin Luther King. We had gone to jail as students. We were fighting not only the racial injustice in North Carolina, this was in Durham, North Carolina I'm talking about. We found out that Malcolm X was coming to Durham, North Carolina. And I said, oh, well, we gotta see if we could get him to come to the campus, which was an all-black college, and he agreed to come. So that summer, I'm walking down one of these streets, and Malcolm is driving because he lived in East Elmhurst. And he sees me, and I see him. I wave at him. He said, come over here. So I come over. He said, get in. So I get in the car. He said, tell me, what did the students think about my speech? What did they say? I said, hold it. And he starts laughing. You ever see Malcolm laugh? His smile goes all the way up to his ears. And I told him all about the what the students felt about his speech, because that's what he was most interested in. I'm a community activist, first of all. And I believe that in the word community are two, common unity. And I believe that if you can connect people around some common collective interest, you have a stronger community. And I believe very strongly that families like the one that I grew up with that are in the communities, we should help them. And I think this is the amazing thing about the Armstrongs, is that they didn't divide themselves based on class. They didn't choose friends based on class. They lived in a community next door with a very, very poor family, but never made us feel like we were poor. That's the unique thing about Lucille and Louis Armstrong. I was an angry kid. Because, any kid's going to lose their family is going to be angry, yeah. But for some reason, when I saw him, I was calm, and he was so kind. And I think I would beat up anybody who said anything bad about him. And I wouldn't have been by myself. I think the whole block would have been the same way, So that was important to me in terms of my self-esteem, It's the steps. You sit here and blow his horn at night. He'd blow his horn. And one night I heard him blow his horn. I was coming home with my sister's window. She could look right down and look where he was sitting. And he was sitting there and he was blowing his horn. And I had had a rough day. I came home, I looked and I saw him play, and he was playing something that was so soothing. I wasn't into jazz, but he was playing so soothing. It really made my soul happy. And I watched him, and it was a summer, and the stars were bright, and they were twinkling. And it seemed like he and the stars were like in harmony with each other. The music was like floating up, and I just felt, that sounds so good. Sounds good. I mean, it was such a peaceful moment, for me, And I didn't realize I had the best seat in the house. Thank you. Thank you, Pops, for just being the man that you are, apart from your music. The music was wonderful, but the man was even greater. I would say, thank you, Pops, for making me feel like a person and not making me feel inferior, and having me as your neighbor and sharing your wealth with me and my family. Those cakes, I love you, Pop, to the cakes. Give me some more of those cakes, Pop.